Hi everyone. So let's wait for a couple of more minutes for people to join in and then we'll start off with the class. All right. Hi everyone. Let's start the lecture. So yeah. Am I audible to everyone? And is my screen visible? All right. So yeah. We took care of conditionals yesterday. So we'll be starting with loops today. Okay. So let's start by an easier question that is not really related to loops anyway. So let me explain it to you. Okay, so quadrants. A common problem in mathematics is to determine which quadrant a given point lies in. There are four quadrants numbered from 1 to 4 as shown in the diagram below. Okay, so basically this question, what this question says is, you will be given an x coordinate and you'll be given a y coordinate. Depending on the coordinate, you need to tell to which quadrant does this point belong. Okay, so am I clear till here? All right, I don't see any doubts. So basically, if x and y both are positive, that means it belongs to quadrant 1. X is negative, Y is positive, quadrant 2. Here, always the first coordinate is X and second coordinate is Y. Like very basic thing that we all know. So yeah, this doesn't even require for loop, dude. So no need to worry. So we'll just define the scanner system dot in. One thing to be make sure that you can assume that neither of the two coordinates is zero. That is important because we need to only now deal with positive or negative cases. That's it. Okay, so let's take first the coordinate of input. Int x equals sc dot next int int y equals sc dot next int. Okay, so now let's start writing the if condition. Basically, what the question says is, depending on the nature of the x and y values, like x and y values, we have to determine which quadrant it belongs to. By nature, I mean whether they're positive or negative. So there are four conditions. Basically, what are the four conditions? Let's write them down. X is greater than 0, y is greater than 0, x is less than 0, y is less than 0. So basically, there can be any two conditions that can hold. So first possibility is x greater than 0 and y greater than 0. That means both of them are greater than 0. X greater than 0 and y less than 0. Now comes x less than 0 and y greater than 0 and x less than 0 and y is less than 0. So these are the four possibilities that I can make. X greater than 0, x less than 0 cannot happen at the same time for obvious means. Okay, so that is it means. So from the figure, we can figure out if x and y both are positive. 12 is x, 5 is y. That means quadrant number so quadrant number is 1, x greater than 0 and y is less than. That means quadrant number is 4, x less than 0, y greater than 0. Quadrant number 2, and the remaining is quadrant number 3. So we'll write the condition in similar order by using if else if. Simple. If x is greater than 0 and at the same time y is greater than 0, that means we need to print what? Else if x greater than 0 and y is less than 0, we need to print out 4. Else if x less than 0 and y is greater than 0, then we can print out what is the quadrant number 2. Else that means there's only one condition left. So we don't need to write the condition, and what is the condition that will be Hello. Is my screen visible to everyone? Uh, Something I've typed. I guess it should be visible. Now, yeah. Any doubts in this problem? Pretty straightforward question, nothing much. No for loops involved, just basic conditionals. That's it. All right. Anil, what's the doubt now? Tell me the line number where you have doubt. What did you not understand? We are pretty straightforward question. There is, we just need to determine whether x and y are positive or negative or zero or both positive, both negative, one positive, one negative. So there are four of them. So this is basically the quadrant number that we have identified from here. If both of them are positive, we have written it's quadrant one. So we'll print be written quadrant one. If x is greater than 0 and y is less than 0, that means it belongs to this question. That means it's quadrant four. Okay. Yeah, please don't, guys. I don't stop asking these same questions every class. Can we do it only using if? I've told you you can use only if, but you will have to write each and every condition and make sure no two print statements are repeated. Wherever we'll go to your question, it's up. It will come in order and it will come definitely. So don't worry about it. Meet the syntax is explained in the previous classes. So please go and watch the previous recordings first. No, there's no issue in the website. There is issue with your code. Nothing else. All right. I'm moving forward now. Sum of natural numbers. Okay, sum of natural numbers. All right. For an integer n, your task is to calculate the sum of first n natural numbers and print it. So basically, you'll be given an integer n. What are natural numbers? Natural numbers is from 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, till infinity. These are natural numbers. So you basically what you need to do, you need to sum all the naturals from 1 till n and print the sum. Pretty straightforward question. We just need to take scanner input here. Okay. Let's take the integer n as input. Integer n is taken as input. So we need to take sum equals 0 now. because initially the sum is going to be, so we initialize it by 0. Then we just run a for loop from int I equals 1, I less than equal to n, I plus plus, sum is equals to sum plus I, and then just need to print out sum. That's it. That's the code. Let's test this. And let's submit this also. Now, any doubts in this code? The question says you need to sum all the natural numbers from 1 till n. So basically what you need to do is you need to iterate the loop from 1 till n, and for each of the numbers you need to do a sum. So basically for 5 it means 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. Similarly for 8, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8. That's how you do it. So that's why, because the n is variable, so we run a for loop, because we cannot, just iterate over and do a if else something like that. So that's why we did a for loop. That's the standard method. So you just iterate a for loop from 1 till n, and I plus is basically, this is what I plus plus means. I plus plus is equivalent to I is equals to I plus 1. Okay. Any more doubts now? Sum is equal to sum plus I. It's not going to be one, dude. You need to sum all the natural numbers, not count the numbers. Line number 9. We are just initializing sum by 0 because initially the sum is 0 and we are adding the sum back. So that's what. All right. Any other doubts? 10 number is a basic for loop that you have learned in the class, guys. Please don't ask me to repeat. If you declare it without 0, then there will be a garbage value attached. We had a discussion over this again, so we won't be doing it again. Because if you don't initialize it by 0, there might be a case that Java compiler initialize it with a random value. Then your answer will come out not to be correct. Sum is equal to 0. How? Because sum is going to be 0 only. Guys, please attend the classes first. I'm telling you, and again, because if you're not attending classes and coming to our session, you won't be able to get these things. The teaching part will be done by Ritik, and you have to attend those classes before coming to doubt sessions. That's a compulsory thing. Yeah, you can do it with while loop. I will show you with the while loop. No issues with that. Sum means that sum means addition that is agreed, because but the thing is, it's a variable name. Only plus means you will be using to add the sums. It's not like an English language. Like if you write sum, then also it will take it as an operator. हाँ, that is obvious ना. Println भी use करोगे तो वही आंसर आएगा. That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. तो नहीं आया. Yeah, new sum gets assigned to sum. That is the taking the initial sum and adding I to it. Yeah, input is there, value is 5, output is 15. Yeah, you can use I plus plus, no issues. Yeah, you can use, it's a variable name. You can use it anything. You can use S, T, temp, anything, whatever you like. Okay. For someone who wanted to use while loop, we can do it in this manner. We'll initialize and I as 1, and we'll just iterate while I is less than equal to n. Sum is equals to sum plus I, then I plus plus, and that's it. This will do the same job as we did here. So yeah, basic math is obviously expected out of you. We are not expecting any kind of formulas, but odd, even numbers, these things you should know. All right, for 5, if you want me to do dry run for loop, let's do a dry run for 5. Int I is initialized as 1, sum is initialized as 0. So that means 0, first value is going to be 0, then 0 plus 1, then I becomes here. Initially, I was equal to 1, then I plus plus happens 2. So 2 is less than equal to n, that is less than 5, that is correct. So 0 plus 1, that is 1. 1 plus 2 becomes, this is the 1 plus 2. And now I becomes 3. 3 is less than equal to 5, correct. So now it becomes 3 plus 3. That means 1 plus 2 is equal to 3 and then plus 3. Okay. So 4. Now I becomes 4. So 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 plus 4 becomes 10. I becomes 5. 5 is less than equal to 5. That is correct. 6 plus 4, 10. 10 plus 5. That's the output. That is equal to 15. Now I becomes 6. Is 6 less than equal to 5? No. That means it will come out of the loop and it will print this. End of story. Okay. All right. Then you can skip the while loop part. It's not a big deal. You can use any of the for loops or while loops anytime. It's not a compulsion to use only for loops or to only use while loops. both of the things work exactly same. It's just that it has an extra option of adding the condition here, which we need to add it manually here. That's it. That's the only difference. And the initialization can be done inside for loop. These are the two extra things that are there. Otherwise, for and while loop works exactly same. There is no difference. Any code that is written in while loop, you can write in for loop within seconds. There won't be any difference. Okay. So is this question clear now, guys? Can we move forward? All right. So let's move on. Yeah, do while loop is not required, guys. Do while loop no one use these days. So don't worry. about that. So yeah, let's move on to the next problem now. Palindrome number. Okay. So this is the next question. Yeah. So first things first, the question says is you need to check, you need to print true if a number is palindrome number and false if a number is not a palindrome number. Okay. Yeah, Sunil, you can use that. That is just a shorter way of writing the same statement. Yeah, I'll tell you what is the palindrome number. Okay. So palindrome number basically means if you read the number from forward and backward and the number means exactly same, then it's a palindrome number. Okay. For example, for example, I write a number as say, let's take 2, 3 examples. First is 1, 2, 1. Second, let's take a different example from what is given. So second is 1, 2, 3, and third is 4, 5, 4. Okay. So if you read the number from forward, what you read it as 11,211. Now let's start reading the number from behind. That is first is this digit, that is 1. Second digit is what 1. Third digit is what 2. Fourth digit is what 1. Third digit is what 1. So does this read? Does this number is equivalent to this number? If yes, that means it's a palindrome. Okay. Now let's read this number from behind. So last digit is 3. Second last is 2. Third last, that is last digit is 1. So this read as 123. This is 321. Are these two equal? No. That means it is not a palindrome. Okay. 4, 5, 4. Let's read this. 4, then 5. That is 45 till here. Then it becomes 454. 454 equal into 454. Yes. So it is a palindrome. Clear till here, guys? What is a palindrome and what is not a palindrome? Okay. So if this is clear, so now what is the motto of this question? So what we'll be doing in this question is we'll try to reverse the number. So basically we want to get the value of reverse and compare it with the initial value. Okay. That's what we are doing in this case. We are basically reversing the number. We start reading it from behind and get the exact number and then we compare the two values. So that's what we are doing. The main motto of this question is to reverse the number. Whatever number is given, we need to reverse it. Okay. So now comes the main part. How to reverse the number? Let's take a small example. 1, 2, 1. So basically, what you are doing each time is you're reading this number, and once you read this digit, is there any use of this digit? You tell me. Like once I have, say, when I start reading from the last, say like 1, 2, 3 is the example. When I have read the 3, so do I use this 3 anymore? No, right? At the end for comparison we do use that is we'll store in a separate variable, but other than that do we use it anywhere? No. So that means we can leave this digit. So once we have got 3 we can lose 3 and then get 2 and then like we can lose 2, then we can get 1 and lose 1 and the number becomes 0. So what's the reading from this? Basically what we are doing is we are getting the last digit and then removing the last digit. We are getting the last digit and then removing the last digit until the number becomes 0. Okay. Now the question comes, how will you get the last digit of the number? Any number you're given, how will you get the last digit of that number? Okay. So to get the last digit, what we can basically do is, yeah, that is correct. We'll use modulo. So, but modulo from what? So we'll be doing percentage 10. So what you do, like
That's a very basic logic. Like when you do, like when you divide by 10 in a computer, what this will give you is 14. So basically 3 is the remainder. And actually in this problem, we need 3 only. So what we can do is to how to get the remainder, we use modulo. So that's why we use a modulo to get the number at ones place. So similarly, we'll do a modulo 123 percentage 10, that is equal to 3. Clear till here? Any doubts? If you have any doubts till here, please ask me right now itself. I won't be entertaining any questions about this. That's why I'm going step by step, because this question is a little confusing. I agree. If you have any doubts, you can ask me right now. Okay. So basically what we are doing, our target is to get the last digit of the number. Okay. So to get the last digit of the number, what we can do is we can percentage it by 10, because when we, in an ideal case, when we divide any number by 10, let's say 143 divided by 10, what this output is 14. So that's basically what it is doing, is it is getting rid of the large digit. But actually we want to get rid of the other digits and just get the large digit. So what we can do is simply reverse this operation. That means we'll do a modulo, that is the remainder. So that's why we use a modulo. No, you cannot do that. For integer, this facility is not provided, buddy. 1 to 3 is not a palindrome. Why? Because 1 to 3, when you read from mind, it is 321. So 123 and 321, are they equal? No. So it's not a palindrome. But it is not a string. Nah, why you guys are going for hypothetical values? Whatever the question is, stick to that question. Don't consider the hypothetical cases, you will get confused anyway. Whatever the question is asking, you need to do that. If it's an integer, you cannot reverse it directly. So you'll have to figure out some way to reverse the number. So basically now from 123 percentage 10, we have got the number that is 3. So we have stored it somewhere, and now we can lose the digit, because that's nowhere useful for us. 123, we divided by 10 to lose the digit. Okay. Now comes the most important, guys. Please pay attention. Okay. So we do again 12 percentage 10. Okay. After this, we did again a 12 percentage 10. No, we cannot use indexes for integer. Integer is basically stored at one indexes. We do a 12 percentage 10, that is equal to 2. Now, some of you will say we just add it directly. So 3 plus 2 will basically become what? 5. But our goal is to get 32, not 5. So how to do that? So what we have to do is something called, we have studied in our second third standards, there's something called place value. Right now, the place value of this particular thing is 1. Now we need to make it tens, so that this becomes 30. So what we can do is to make the place value tens, you just multiply it by 10 and then add whatever it is. So whatever the number that is coming from behind, you need to multiply it by 10 to increase the place value of all the digits by 10, and then add the digit that is you have found recently. That's what the whole logic is. Okay, so let's start coding now. So basically, when we got the second, we got the first digit, that is pretty direct. Okay, we add it to the number. But when we get the second digit, we cannot directly add it to the number. Why we cannot directly add it to the number? Because if we add it simply, so this will be what? Sum of digits. 3 plus 2 is 5. We want it to be 32. Okay. And we want that if you do just like that, na, addition. So 3 plus 2 plus 1 will happen. That is 6. But the value that should arrive is 321 according to us. So how to get to 321? Because when we find each digit, so the next digit that is added, before adding that digit, we need to increase the place value. Place value means right now the place value of in this is one of his place value of 1 is 1. For 2 it is 10, and 3 is 1000. 300, sorry, what 1000? I'm sorry. Okay. For this one is ones, this one is hundreds, 10, sorry. This 2 is hundreds, this one is thousands, and this one is 10,000s. Okay, it's basically like spelling the number like 10,000, sorry, 11,000, then we spell it 2, so that means 200, then 11. For 11 to 19, we had exceptions, otherwise we used to spell it this way, right? So that's how you do it. So we increase the place value by multiplying by 10 and then add the digits simply. Is it clear now? So now we'll take the input. Let's take the number int n equals sc dot next int. Since we had to compare the number at n, we'll store the same number in a copy. So that let's name it as copy n. This is equal to n only right now. Now let's do the int reverse. This is our number that will be reversed. So we'll initialize it by 0 because initially it is 0. Okay, zoomed in, buddy. For we can use a for loop or we can use a while loop. Okay. If you're using a for loop, it's well and good. If you're using a while loop, it's also well and good. We can do it by while loop in this manner. So we'll be using copy only. So let's do this thing. For copy n equals n, comma copy n greater than 0, because we'll be doing all the operations continuously till we arrive at a point where it is no more divisible. Copy n divided by 10, because that's the end operation. Now we write the for loop inside operation, we get the digit. So int digit equals copy n percentage 10. Now we have got the digit, so we'll add it to the reverse. Equals reverse. First we multiply it by 10 so that all that are existing will place value will be increased by 10, and now we add the digit, and that's it. Now at the end, what we need to do, we need to compare the reverse like we did initially. So if we have got the reverse number, we will compare it to the reverse is equal to n. Then we need to print out true. That is true. Else, that means it is not equal. So we'll print out false. Why not directly n? Because if you use n here, we are basically dividing it by 10. So we'll use the n. If we lose the n, how will we compare it at the end? That's why we took a copy. This is just a variable name, guys. It's up to you. You initialize it by temp, whatever you want. There's no issues. No, there's only one logic for this thing. You can use while loop here, as I explained in the previous question. Just instead of for, we'll do a while loop and we'll be good to go. If you want a while loop, what we can do is I'll write a while loop for you. While copy n is greater than 0. And just let's copy paste these steps. As usual, I told you the for loops inside steps are going to be as it is. The initialization goes outside and this steps comes at the end. That's it. So basically, this is equivalent to writing these codes inside, and this code is to be written here. And the initialization that we have done outside is to be written here. That's the only difference between for and while loop. That's it. Yeah, you can use the int inside for loop. So if you want, somebody saying like, why not initialize int copy here only, you can do that and we can comment it out. But for if you're using that in the while loop, then you will have to declare. That's the thing. Int copy n equals z equals n, sorry, not 0. because that's the case. Now your code should pass each and every edge cases that is possible. If it is passing some of the cases, that means your code is not perfectly correct. And if it is not perfectly correct, then it will not pass the assignment. That's the whole logic of this case. Digit is basically what we have got. We have got the last digit here, like 123% is 10. So we've got the digit from here and we're adding it to the place value digit. It's up to you guys. You can use while or you can use for. For each question, you can either use while or you can use for. There is no such restrictions. Let's run the code for 454. True. This is commented out, guys. This is not running. This is just the example. Like if someone wants to use while loop, then he can code it this manner. If wants to use for loop, he can code it this manner. I've coded both ways so that no one has any doubts. No, both the loops are not running for the same question. Don't worry. Only one of them will run. Line 21. Okay. So line 21 is basically whatever number we have found till now, we are increasing the place value by 10 and then okay, you want me to give a bigger input? Let's give 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 1. Okay. This output should be true because 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 1. This will run exactly same. Okay. Let's give for a false statement. This should give false. Does it give false? It gives false. So yeah. Just select all the lines that you want to comment out and use command slash for Mac and control slash for Windows. This happens because you're not handling all the edge cases that are required. I'm explaining this again and again for a reason, because every code has some edge cases to cover that you need to make sure covering. Fail, be it here or be it in coding test, to make sure that you take care of all the edge cases that might be possible. Okay, let's do a dry run. Everybody wants a dry run, so let's do a dry run. Let's say the input is 1, 2, 1. Okay, we'll do with a small input so that we can try and cover the next question as well. Okay, so copy n is initialized by 121. Okay, reverse is initially 0 as usual, and digit, that's what we are going to find. 121% 10 is going to be 1. That's the first digit. So what this becomes, 0 into 10 plus 1. Okay, I'll just do it in the next line. Okay, so that you're able to understand. 0 into 10 plus 1. Now we go to the copy here. Okay, when you go to the copy is divided by 10. So 121 becomes 12. Now 12% is 10 becomes 2. So 0 into 10 plus 1 is what? 1. So let's take 1 into 10 plus 2. That is what the digit is. So 2. Then we have 12 is done. So what is left is 1, because 12 divided by 10 is 1. So 1 into 10 plus 2 becomes what? 12. 12 into now 10 plus the digit we found here was 1. So if we add 1 here, so that means it becomes 121. Now we divide 1 by 10, it becomes 0. 0 is greater than 0. No. So that's it. End of story. See, the number of times will the loop will run here is going to be no, 3 times the loop will run, fourth time the condition will not satisfy. So the loop will exit from here itself. After first value comes out, so it is going back to here. It will perform this operation and it will go back here. So first we do this, then we do this in the for loop, then these statements are executed, then it is executes this, then it goes back to this. It never goes back to initialization after first step. See, viewing a test case is used is like viewing your solution partially. So that's why we'll reduce your score. Because if you are viewing the solution, then you are taking hints. That means if you're taking hints, that means you don't deserve the full score because you are not able to solve it on your own. All right, I don't see any more doubts. So yeah, that's pretty much it from my side, guys. So we'll take up the no, it's not hint. It's basically one of the part of the solution that you're viewing. So if you're viewing a test case, you can just simply hard code it by using if else. So that's not allowed. That's why your score is deducted there. And you should not never view the test cases. We'll take up the Armstrong number tomorrow. It's pretty much similar to what we have done in the panel number. So there's not much to be done there. Okay. So we'll take up these two questions tomorrow. We'll be covering them very quickly. So yeah. No, no, guys, we don't have time. We just have 5 minutes left. So I won't be taking any more questions. I don't want to just rush in a hurry and code it. Okay. So yep. You guys have got 5 minutes break, I guess. You can go drink water and then come back join.
Hello everyone. Okay. I guess the other session has ended. Okay, chalo, good evening. I think we can start in next 2-3 minutes. 9:05. We'll start with 9:10. Okay. So if you want to take a break, you want to come back, so we can start at 9:10. Okay. Okay. Hello everyone. Good evening. I think we can start. Okay. Uh, Let me quickly share my screen. Yesterday we were discussing loops, right? So I'll do a quick recap of what we discussed on loops, and then we'll move to next kind of loops, and then if possible, then we may start with arrays today. Okay. So were we using something whiteboard yesterday? I don't think so. We used any whiteboard or we wrote something. Let's have a quick look. Okay, let's use this board itself for the code. We'll likely try to understand the code. If it's difficulties, we'll draw something in whiteboard. Okay. Okay. So yesterday, what we learned about loops that basically we can write something. We can write a piece of code again and again, which we work कर सकते हैं again and again. Right? If we want to write something, we can write it again and again to get the work. For example, if I want to write a display, let's say hello world 10 times, so I can write system.out.println hello world 10 times, which will get the work done. But I cannot do it again and again for, let's say, if I want to display hello world 1,000 times or 5,000 times or 100 times, right? So I cannot do it. Okay. So instead, in order to do this thing, we'll do something on this. Right? So what loops is? Loops is basically whatever statement we want to run multiple times, we can write it inside loop. Right? So this statement will run multiple times inside the loop. Right? Yeah, I'll cover the pre-increment, post-increment, I plus plus and plus plus I today. Okay. Just wait for next 10 minutes. We'll start from there itself. That's all. So inside for, so the first kind of loop is for, right? So inside for, we have four major portions. One is the initialization, where we give a value to a variable, right? Or we may declare a variable. Next is condition, on what is the condition based on which we want to run the loop multiple times, right? What is the condition on the based on which we want to run the loop again and again. And then there is updation, that which will, using which will update the value, so that at some point the condition will become false and will break out of this loop. Right? And then the body is basically the statement which we want to run 10, 20, 100 times, or how many times we want. Right? Then we learned about variable declaration and variable initialization. So variable declaration is simply writing int I. Right? Int I means I have declared a variable. I told Java that we are going to use this variable. Right? I just informed Java that I am going to use this variable. You please be aware. Okay. Sorry. And variable initialization is basically, we are not just informing that I'm going to use this variable. I'm also specifying that this is the value that is in this variable, right? Store this value in this variable, and I may update it later if I want. Right. Okay, so this is declaration, where I just give the variable and name, and here I keep the variable name along with the value. Right. Okay. Next, let me come to the loop. Let's move to the loop. So basically, in loop we can have we basically have three parts. Right? I 0, I less than 10. Let's say I want to write I plus 2 something. Okay. So these are three parts. So what we do in variable initialization, we simply initialize a variable. We tell that this is the name of our variable and this is the value where we are going to start. Next is we write a condition, that this is the condition until when this condition satisfies. जब तक ये condition satisfy होता है, right? Till when this condition satisfies, keep on running this loop. And then next we wrote the updation statement based on which this I value will keep on changing again and again. Now how this loop used to work? So first we will go to initialization. We'll run the initialization where we'll create the variable and I'll give it a value. Next, I'll go to the condition. I'll check if this condition is true. I gave the value initially 0. If 0 is less than 20, yes, it is true. And then I'll go to the body. Right? I'll go to the body. I'll run whatever is inside between these two curly brackets. Right? These two parentheses are known as curly brackets. Right? So whatever is written in between these curly brackets, I'll run that. And next, once I'm done running this body, I'll immediately go to updation. I'll update the i's value, that this is the I value. Update it. And then again I'll check the condition updation, and then I'll check the condition that if the condition is true right now as well, agar abhi bhi condition true hai, if the condition is still true, so we'll run the body again, right? But till when the condition will keep on true, will keep on running, and when the condition becomes false, I'll stop the loop then and there itself, and then I'll come out of the body of the loop. Right? So let's say I want to run this, and I'm just printing I. Right? So I have declared I in here, so I can use the I inside the loop. Right? So I am printing 0 to 20. I was initially 0, then I updated it to I plus 2. It became 2. And then sorry, and then again we checked condition 2 is less than 20, we printed it. Then again updated to 4, we printed it. Okay, now there is a question how to print the value horizontally. Right, so basically do not want to change the line, so you want to be in the same line, so you can simply use the print function and it will print it horizontally. Right? Okay, let's run this. Okay, this is something which I have not told right till now. You'll see the values are coming without spaces, right? And it does not make any sense. It looks like a number. So you want some space in between these values. In order to add spaces, you can simply do plus space. Okay, so you can in a println statement, if you want to add space, you can write plus and space inside a double quote. So this will give spaces to whatever values you are printing. Right? So in println, you do not need this because in println it is changing the line, so it's always starting with a new line. But if you want spaces in the same line, you are printing something and you want spaces, so you can print and give spaces plus space. Okay, and this is a single space in between two double quotes, so this will give spaces and it is showing different numbers with spaces, right, in the single line. Okay, so okay, once again, so basically inside print or println, if you want to have multiple things, for example, let's say I want to inside a println statement, system.out.println, I want to print a variable, and then I want to print a value as well. Sorry, a variable, and then I want to write some text like this is value of a. Okay, something like that. So what I can do is I can give a value 5. Let's say there is a variable which is a k naam ka variable hai, right? There is a variable which exists which is a, and I want to print a and then some text after it. Right, so one way is I can write a in a println statement and then I can write it in a different shape, or I can use two different print. In order to achieve the same work, I can do it in different ways. Right? Let's say I can do it in system.out.print a, and then I can print the same thing as system.out.print, and then I can print this text. Right, whatever I have printed over here, I can print this here. So this was one way that if you have to print something like this, you can use the print statement to do it, right? And this will work. But we can do the same work using the same using the println statement as well. Okay. So here we have 5. This is the value of a, and then when we are using println, this is doing the same. Let me write it as println. Let's run this, and let me comment out this 4. So let me remove this. Now let's see what is happening. See, this is doing the this was doing the same piece of work. Instead of doing this work in 2 statements, I can add a single statement also that is doing the work by using add. Okay, I can add and I can write a string and I can write a this. Okay, but it will add space in the starting also. Here I have added space in starting, that's why it is adding. But if I do not add space in starting, we'll see that it is not adding. It will not add. Okay, so the space is coming because I have added. So here the space was there, that's why it was coming. If I do not add the space, there will be no space. So this add will add these 2 things, but without any spaces, and it will print. Okay. So let's clear this out. Let's go back to the loop. Okay. Let me just put this above. Yeah, this is concatenation, right? When we learn about strings, we'll learn about this term. So this thing is known as concatenation, basically joining of 2 different strings. Okay. Let me just paste it away. Okay. Now in here, the second thing that we learned about was we had 3 sections: initialization, condition, and then updation. But yeah, you can write it in any way, right? String plus a plus string, everything works. right? For each loop, it is same as for loop, right? For each loop we run for arrays, but same as for loop. So we have to just loop it for something. Okay. Okay. So okay, coming back to this, we have initialization, we have condition, and we have declaration. Now these three parts are not compulsory, right? You don't need to necessarily write all the three parts. We just need to have two semicolons, right, to separate these three parts. If you want to skip any one of these parts, you can skip. For example, if I want to skip the declaration, I can declare this variable outside this loop as well. Okay. It will work the same way, right? So I can skip the declaration. It will still work the same way. I want to skip the updation. If I skip the updation and the condition is true, so there is no way I can change this condition. Okay. So this becomes an infinite loop. You'll see this keeps on printing 0 0 0 0 0, and it is not ending, right? Because this has become an infinite loop. Right? It printed 0 because it was running and this loop returned. There is one other way as well. Even if you skip the updation, you can do the updation in the body of the loop as well. Okay, so this is also acceptable. If you want to do the updation in the body of the loop, you can skip the updation here, and you can do the updation in the body of the loop as well. That will also work, and this will not lead to infinite loop. Okay. Because why? What will happen when initially we'll go to initialization? There is no initialization. I value is 0. I'll go to condition. So I is less than 20. Right, okay, I is less than 20. I'll run to the body. So body will print this, and then I'll update I value by I plus 2. So I'll become 2. I'll go to updation. There is no updation. I'll go to condition, but I value has already updated. It has been updated to 2. Right, it got updated to 2. Okay. So it is getting up. Next time it will run the body, it will get updated to 4. It will go to condition. It will say, okay, I value is 4, and same way, like it will update to 20, and then at 22 it will become it will end the loop. Right. If I write it 2 times, if I write here and here as well, so for what will happen if I update this value 2 times? So it will be updated 2 times. If you are updating the value inside the body and you are updating the value at the updation as well, so the value will get updated 2 times. So here it is getting updated by 2, and here also it is getting updated by 2. So firstly, we ran the loop for I equals to 0. We updated here by 2, so it became 2. We again updated here by 2, it became 4. Now we are checking 4 is less than 20. Yes, it is. We are printing. So here it is printing for 4, right? And then again we are updating by 2, 6, and then again updating 8, right? Okay. And what if we skip the condition? Agar condition skip kar dete, so it will directly become the infinite loop. If you skip the condition, it automatically becomes an infinite loop. There is nothing that can stop it from becoming an infinite loop. Right? So if you skip the updation, you can write it in the body to stop from stopping it to become an infinite loop. If you skip the initialization, you can do it outside the loop. That will also not create an issue. But if you skip the condition, that is for sure going to result into an infinite loop. Right? But if we skip all the 3 parts, we do not write anything. So this is an infinite loop again. Right? This is also infinite loop. Any loop that has no condition in it is an infinite loop. Yeah, can we write 2 conditions inside the loop? Yes, you can. Yes, we can. So if you want to write 2 conditions inside the loop, we can write it. For example, let's say I want to check if I is less than equals to 10, and then I is greater than equals to 5. Let's say I want to write 2 conditions. So it basically I'm checking if I is between 5 and 10, then only I want to run. Otherwise, I don't want to run. Okay. So if I run this, you'll see nothing will get printed because I value is 0. Right? I value is 0. So it is not printing anything. Why? Because is I less than 10? This is satisfying. Okay, true. And what is this value? So 0 is greater than 5, not false. True and false evaluates to false. Right? We understood true and false will evaluate to false. This is false. This is not. But if I give it a value, let's say 5, so this condition will satisfy. 5 is less than equals to 10. 5 is greater than equals to 5. Okay, satisfying. It is going inside. It is printing 5. Updating to 7 and updating to 9. Okay. 9 is less than 10. Okay. 9 is greater than equals to 5. Satisfied. It is again printing. Again updating 9 to 11 and then here to 13. So is 13 less than 10? No. This is false. And this is true. So false and true is false. So we'll stop the loop here. Okay. Okay. So what is line number 45? Line number 45 states how the loop runs. So firstly we run the initialization, then we go to the condition, then we go to the body, and then we go to updation. Then we again go back to condition. Let me write it out. This is giving me shortcuts, so I can type this out. Initialization, condition, body, updation, condition, body, then again back to updation, right? And this cycle keeps on happening, right? And this cycle will keep on happening until the condition is satisfied. जब तक condition satisfy होता रहेगा, updation, condition, body, updation, condition, body, this will keep on happening. Instead of printf, can we take empty bag and do with the concatenation if it is possible to print horizontal? Instead of instead of printf print, you can take println and concatenate. No, if you write just semicolon, it won't give you error. So for your loop, this part has to have 2 semicolons, right? It has to have 3 parts. 3 part होने चाहिए इसमें, ठीक है? Which it will run on the order that I specified. This is the order in which it will run these parts. Take a for loop will run these 3 parts in this particular order. Now, if you want to skip anyone, you can skip it. Only thing it will look for is 2 semicolons that should separate these 3 parts. So first part would be before the semicolon, second part would be in between these 2 semicolons, and third part is between the semicolon and this ending bracket, right? So loop gets the 3 parts and it executes them in this particular order. Initialization, condition, body, updation, condition, body, updation, condition, body, and keeps on doing it. Okay. Clear to everyone? Yes, no loop running, infinite loop, and this part. If you want to increase the value before less than 20 I plus 2, but greater than you want I plus 4, or should be the condition. Okay, so you we can write that condition inside this body itself, right? If I is less than 20, so you can update it. So you can write that condition like this, right? If I is less than 20, updated by 2, otherwise else updated by 4. So if you have any kind of logic that you want to write for updation, you can write it inside the body and skip this updation part. Do not do this updation here. So now whatever updation condition you want, you can write it inside the body. And if you want to update based on a condition, write it inside the body and skip this part. That will also work. Okay. Write it in form of empty bag. I did not get this thing, moment. Sir, if I have one note, why we take I equals to why we take I equals to I plus 2, right? So this is a good question. Why we take I equals to I plus 2? So this was one question that I also got when I started programming. Why we write I equals to I plus 2? I can simply write I plus 2, and why it will not work, right? Why it will not update? So basically, what happens is, let me give you an example. Let's say I write A equals to 5, okay, and int B is equals to 10. And if I do somewhere like A plus B, will it update the value of A plus B? Or if I write somewhere, let's say inside B, if I write A plus 2. So do I mean here ki update the value of A by 2? No, I simply mean ki give me the value of A and add 2 to it. So make it A plus 2. So it is 5 plus 2, 7, and store that back in B. Right. The same thing is happening over here. If I write I plus 2, so I'm simply telling perform this mathematical operation. But do not store this. I'm not telling it where to store. If I simply write I plus 2, I'm not telling it where to store this value. Whatever value it will get after performing this operation, I'm not telling it where to store. Right. So similar to how if I write simply A plus 2, does this mean anything? No. It simply means that perform this operation, but I'm not telling him where to store. Right. So that's why I write I equals to I plus 2. It means perform this mathematical operation, try to find out this value 5 plus 2, which is 7, and then store it back in I. right? Update the same I in this with the same value, right? Update the I with the value that you are getting after performing this operation. इस operation को perform करने का जो value आ रहा है, I want that value and I want you to store that in I. Okay, so that's why we write I plus 2. Okay, so now next thing is today we'll start with something different. Okay, so this I took 30 minutes as I intended to cover this. So let's start with something new, which is increment and decrement, right? So I already saw a lot of questions. Okay, and decrement operators. So we learned about relational operator, we learned about logical operator. The next thing is increment and decrement operator, right? What is increment and decrement operator? So basically our language provides two shortcut operators, plus plus and minus minus, right? Those shortcut operator hai hamare paas, plus plus and minus minus. Now what do these shortcut operators do? So basically if I write, let's say int a equals to 5, and if I write anywhere I want, I write a plus plus, it simply means I want to add 1 to a and store it back in a. It is equivalent to the same writing as a plus 2. If I write a equals to a plus 1, it means the exact same thing as writing a plus plus. Okay. So if ever I want to do something like a equals to a plus 1, instead of writing a equals to a plus 1, I can instead write a plus plus. This is just a shortcut way of writing this. इसको लिखने का shortcut है, ठीक है? The shortcut way to write a equals to a plus 1 is writing a plus 2 plus. ठीक है? Now same way, what is a minus minus? Can you take a guess कि a minus minus क्या होगा? What does this mean? A minus minus. Yeah, I send the coding on Discord. Everyone, please check your Discord note resources वाला channel पे होगा, right? Try to check the note resources channel. The coding, whatever we have done, whatever comments I have written, everything is shared there. So you'll see that thing there. Yeah. So a equals to a minus minus simply means a equals to a minus 1. Sorry, a equals to a minus 1. Okay. So if ever I write a plus plus, it simply means a equals to a plus 1, or a minus minus simply means a equals to a minus 1. I can also write a plus equals to 2. इसका मतलब क्या होता है? What does this mean? This means a equals to a plus 2. Okay. So this is the shortcut way, which is known as increment and decrement operator, and we can write this as well. A plus equals to 2, which means a equals to a plus 2. Okay. And I can also write a minus equals to 2 or 5 or something, whatever value, which means a equals to a minus 2. Now you can replace so this, for this it is fixed, plus plus and minus minus. Here you can replace it with multiplication, division, right? All those things. Here you cannot do. This is not operator. Okay, I'm right away clarifying. ये operator नहीं है. Multiply, multiply, divide, divide. This is not operator. Okay, so don't experiment with this thing. Only plus plus and minus minus are two operator, which are known as increment and decrement operator, because they increment or decrement the value of a variable by 1. किसी भी एक वैल्यू या वेरिएबल का वैल्यू को it increments or decrements by 1. Okay, so that's why it is known as increment or decrement operator. Increment operator, and this is the decrement operator. Okay, in order to do something like plus equals to 2 or multiply equals to 2, something you can do it like this, right? So shortcut way of writing the same thing. So for this I'll advise कि use this for now. ये अभी के लिए इसको use करो. Only for plus 1 and minus 1, prefer a plus plus and a minus minus. Okay. Okay. Just prefer this a plus plus a minus minus. Other shortcut you can use the like this form, you know, right? A equals to a plus 1, a plus 2. This works everywhere. This is like the thing that you if you don't want to understand this, you can use this. But still I'll advise you to understand this a plus plus and a minus minus. Okay. Everyone understood increment and decrement operator? I want to do a few questions over here because this is very interesting part, and you'll for sure get questions in interviews and questions in your online rounds about this. Okay. Okay. Now there are two ways of writing this increment and decrement operator, okay, which is known as pre and post. Okay. And listen carefully to this thing what I'm trying to say, pre and post, because this is somewhat confusing. Okay, thoda sa confusing hota. So let's say I have declared a variable, right? I have declared a variable. Let me just comment this out. System.out.println. Okay, let me declare a plus plus. Okay, Now, can you take a guess what is the output of this? What is going to be the output of this? I've written a equals to 5 and I've printed a plus plus 5 6, right? So the output is 5. Okay, now why it is coming out to be 5? Achha, there is something I've printed above. Okay, let me comment out this loop. Let me run this. Yeah. So you see, we are getting 5, right? Why we are getting 5? So whenever I write a plus plus, it means I am doing post increment. Okay, so this is post increment. So it will update the value after this particular statement. इस statement को run करने के बाद ये value update करेगा. ठीक है? After running this particular statement, it will update the value. ठीक है? For those of you who want in Hindi, I will try to say some bit of it in Hindi as well for you, so that you can also understand. ठीक है? Now see what is happening. So I declared the value of a is 5. ठीक है? This is known as post increment. So whenever you do post increment, the value will get updated. Value update होगा, but it will happen after this particular line. इस line के बाद होगा. ठीक है? Not at this particular point. इस point of time पे नहीं होगा. Next time when you will try to access this variable, next time जब भी इसको access करोगे, at that point you will see the updated value. ठीक है? Wherever you will use it next time, you will see the updated value, that is 6. ठीक है? That we are seeing. This is known as post increment. This is example of post increment. Okay. Now let me just do the same thing for pre increment. We can simply do it. You can see plus plus a. Okay. So plus plus a, if I write, it will increment the value here itself. Let me comment out these two lines so that you'll get a better idea. Okay. So I value is 5. I have defined I value as 5. Now I'm doing pre-increment. I'm writing plus plus before the variable. So it will increment the value and it will happen at that point as well. So you will see the value there as well. And after that, wherever you have used, you will see the updated value. Okay. The only difference between pre and post increment is in pre-increment, wherever you have written plus plus a, the value will be incremented here as well. And it will be incremented at the after places where you have used it. ठीक है? इसके बाद जहां भी यूज करोगे वहां पे इंक्रीमेंटेड वैल्यू आएगा और यहाँ पे तो आएगा ही. ठीक है? इन द केस ऑफ पोस्ट इंक्रीमेंट, दिस वाज नॉट द सिनेरियो. ऐसा नहीं हो रहा था. वेयर यू हैव रिटन दिस पोस्ट इंक्रीमेंट, देयर द वैल्यू विल नॉट गेट इंक्रीमेंटेड. वहां पे इंक्रीमेंट नहीं होगा. उसके बाद कहीं भी यूज कर लो, wherever you will use it after that point of time it will get implemented. Okay. See, here it is not getting incremented. After that I have used this a, so it is getting 6. Okay. Clear? Pre and post, everyone? Pre ones. Okay. Let me do it once in Hindi for those of you who want in Hindi. So yeah, because this is important. ये starting में समझ नहीं आता थोड़ा सा. ठीक है. So post increment में क्या होता है? पोस्ट इंक्रीमेंट में जब भी हम a प्लस प्लस लिखेंगे, इससे होगा क्या कि वैल्यू चेंज हो जाएगी, बट इस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पे नहीं होगा. इस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पे वो 5 ही शो करेगा. जैसे अभी मैंने प्रिंट करा और इस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पे उसने 5 ही वैल्यू शो करा. इसके बाद वो 6 वैल्यू शो कर रहा है, राइट? यहाँ पे उसने 5 ही शो करा और इसके बाद वो 6 शो कर रहा है. मतलब इस पॉइंट पे उसने 5 इंक्रीमेंट तो कर दिया है, बट इस जगह पे उसने 5 ही शो करा. इस जगह पे वो 5 दिखाएगा हमेशा. इस जगह पे उसकी वैल्यू 5 है. ठीक है? बट अगर मैं इसको प्री इंक्रीमेंट करूंगा, मैं इसको एज अ प्री इंक्रीमेंट लिखूंगा, तो ये क्या करेगा? ये इस जगह पे भी इंक्रीमेंट करेगा और इसके बाद भी इंक्रीमेंट करेगा. सो अभी आउटपुट आ रहा था 5 6. अगर मैं अभी रन करूंगा तो ये 6 और 6 शो करेगा. क्यों? क्योंकि यहाँ पे इसने इंक्रीमेंट करा और यहाँ पे भी इसकी वैल्यू 6 है. इस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पे भी इसकी वैल्यू 6 है और इसके बाद भी ये 6 रहेगा, राइट? सो यहाँ पे जिस जगह पे मैंने इंक्रीमेंट लिखा है वहां पे इंक्रीमेंट हो जाता है, वहां पे इंक्रीमेंटेड वैल्यू दिखती है. और यहाँ पे पोस्ट इंक्रीमेंट के केस में या इस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पे इंक्रीमेंटेड वैल्यू नहीं दिखेगी, इसके बाद दिखेगी. ठीक है? Okay, in English, so basically one thing to take from here is whenever you write post increment, so the value will not get updated here at this point of time. It will show you the old value, whatever value A had at that point of time. When it came to this particular line of code, it will show that particular value. Okay. See, it is showing 5 because A value was 5, right? It is showing 5. And after this, it incremented the value to 6. And then the next time when I try to access A, it is giving me the value 6. But it is just different in case of pre-increment. When I write plus plus A, it gives me the incremented value there as well. And after that, when I use it, it will give me the incremented value. So here it is giving me 6, and here also it will give me 6. Now the output was 5, 6. Now in case of pre-increment, the output is 6, 6. Yeah, 6 and 6. So basically here also it is getting the value 6, and after this it is also getting the value 6. Okay, last time clear to everyone? Both English, Hindi सब में cover कर दिया. Okay. I'll come to this on loop, right? Let's do some few input output questions on this, because you get input output question based on this. Okay. Now I'll give you a few statements, okay, and try to tell me the output value for that. So I have written A is equals to 5. Okay. Okay, let's write it here itself. So let's say I want to do a B. I'm writing A plus 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 A plus 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 A. Yeah. What is the value of B? Everyone try to think and try to write your answers. What is the value of B going to be? Lot of you are writing wrong answers. Just try to write it. What is the value of this? Okay, let's try to do step by step. Okay, don't try to calculate this. What is the value of that is going to come here? यहाँ पे क्या value है? What is the value that is going to come at the first point? So let's run this. Then the chat will stop. Then I can discuss this. So it is 19. A few of you wrote the correct answers, and yeah, let's try to see. Let's try to do it step by step, and you'll get the answer of why this answer is coming out to be 19. Okay, now look at over here. Okay, so what is the value of A plus plus? I told you that when we do post increment, when we were doing post increment over here, the value was 5, right? This was giving you value 5, and then it was incrementing to 6, right? So it is 5. So here it is, the value is 5. Okay. What is this value second? A plus plus. So after running this, it increased to 6. Was 6 में change हो गया. Then when it came here, the value was 6. Okay, value was 6. Now we will get value 6. We have again post increment. Okay, we will get the value 6, and then when we'll come over here, so it incremented to 7. 7 में increment हो गया. 7 हो चुका है. And then when we came over here, it again incremented by 1. It made it 8. Right? And here it is pre-increment, so it will increment beforehand. Right? So it will increment there itself. So 7. So firstly we got 5, but it changed to 6. Here when we came, it gave us 6, but it changed to 7. When we came over here, it was 7, and it changed to 8, and it gave me 8 over here. So it is 6 plus 5 plus 8, which is 19. Okay. Clear? Yes. So let's do a few more questions. If for those of you got it wrong, let's try to do a few more, and then you will get for sure get this right. Okay. So let's do a few more. Okay. Let's do A plus plus minus plus plus A minus A plus A. Yeah, try to do this. And one more thing that I'm telling you right away beforehand, in interviews, if you get this question, or if you get this question in your online coding rounds, you will see this written as like this. Okay, you most of the time they don't give you spaces. Okay, so this will be written like this, and it is even more confusing to predict what it is. But how to categorize this? Start with the starting. If you see two pluses are consecutively, think and put a space over here. Okay, then there is a minus, then there are three operators, so there cannot be three operators. You have to put a space over here. Then we come over here, we see 3 minus consecutively, so we put a space over here. There was already a pre-operator, so there cannot be a post-operator attached to it. Then I put a space over here because this again has two operators, so it is a pre-operator that cannot have a post. I put spaces after this and I separated this into this. Okay. Try to see. Okay. Try to get the output. Check. Okay, instead of writing this number, try to write the statement 5 plus 2, 5 minus 2 plus 6, whatever you are getting, write that statement. Okay, so let's check out that statement if you are getting correct or not. Yeah, I guess most of you are getting the right answer, right? So let's try to do it once and then we see the answer. So this is 5. It is post, so it will not change its value right away here. It will change it whenever we'll see it again, right? So it is 5. It changed to 6. We see minus, and then it is pre, so it changed to 7. It was 5. It changed to 6, and when we reached over here, it was 6. It changed to 7, and we see 7. We saw minus. Then the value was 7. We reached over here, so it decreased it by 1. It is minus 6, right? Yeah. And then we went here, so it was 6 and it will change to 7, but here we will get the value 6. So the final result is minus 2, right? Let's run this, see if we are getting minus 2 or not. Minus 2, correct? 5 minus 7 minus 6 plus 6. How 7, right? So firstly it was 5, so we got the value 5 because post increment we are not updating over here, we'll get the same value. We changed it to 6, we got the value 6. When we reached over here, the value was 6, and since this is pre-increment, it will change it to 7, and it will give me here the value will be 7, right? Because it is pre-increment, so it will change it to 7 and I'll get the value 7. Okay. Okay, clear? So firstly we got the value 5, it incremented it to 6, then we saw minus, then we 6 again changed, updated its value to 7. Okay, then we saw minus. Okay, and then we again updated its value, sorry, by decreasing it by 1, so it became 6. And then we added like when we went here, so it increased its value to 7, but here since it is post, we'll get the value 6, right? Yeah, so let's do a few 1-2 more questions and then we can I'll be sure that you all understood. So this is very easy. Just this you have to keep in mind what is the value, how it is changed. Okay, so let's do one more. Okay, let me just make it little bit more difficult. Let me give two variables. Okay, one is 5, another is 10. I want to calculate C and I'll be printing C. Okay, I have to keep track of both. So A plus plus minus B. Okay, try to do this. There's a line 5 into line 2 into the 5. 5. Okay, how was that 5 instead of 5 plus? Sorry, I erased that. I completely missed it. Okay, let's see what was the statement. I think this is. just comment this out. For those of you who are trying to solve this, yeah, so this is your question. Yeah, and let me explain the previous one. Okay, so firstly we see a plus plus, so it is 5, right? Then we have minus, so it got incremented to 6. 5, the initial value was 5, it is 5 because it is post increment. Here it will not give the value 6. It incremented to 6, but it will give the value 5, right? And then it went here, it again incremented it, value was 6, it incremented it to 7. So here it is giving the value 7. So in case of pre-increment, you'll get the same value, that is after increment, that is you're getting after increment. But in case of post-increment, you'll get the previous value. After increment, whatever value is coming, that will come in the next time you see. At this point of time, you'll get the same value. Okay. अच्छा, बस इसको ऐसे समझो, अगर पोस्ट है तो इंक्रीमेंट हो जाएगा, मगर उस जगह पे मुझे वही वैल्यू दिखेगी जो इंक्रीमेंट से पहले थी. प्री है तो इंक्रीमेंट होगा, राइट, बट वो उसी टाइम भी होगा और उस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पे भी दिखेगा. उसके बाद तो दिखेगा ही, उसके बाद तो दोनों केस में दिखेगा, बट इस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पे भी मुझे दिखेगा. पोस्ट इंक्रीमेंट में ऐसा नहीं होगा. ठीक है, पोस्ट इंक्रीमेंट में मुझे उस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पे पुरानी वैल्यू दिख रही थी, उसके बाद मुझे लाइक नई अपडेटेड वैल्यू दिख रही. ठीक है, so let's see over here. I'm seeing 21, so everyone is typing 21, so this has to be the correct answer. Okay, so let's see. So we see 5, okay, minus so first time we got 5, it changed to 6. Okay, let me also keep track of A and B. Okay, so let's keep track of A and B. So A value is 6, okay, B value is 10 itself. So I got minus minus B, so it is 10. Okay, after that it changed and its value became 9. Okay, I went here plus plus B, so B value is 9, I'll see 9 and it changed it to 10. Okay, this statement I will receive 9, but it changed it to 10. Plus 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 B, so it was 10, it incremented it to 11. Okay, and B value is 11. Okay, okay, last time minus minus A minus minus, so A value is 6, it will be 6 over here and will decrease after this and it will become 5. Okay, let me re-verify. So A plus plus, it is 5. Okay, we'll see 5 change to 6, minus B minus minus 10, we'll see 10 change to 9, plus B plus plus, so B plus plus, we'll see the B value 9, I change it to 10. Plus plus B, it will change it to 11, we'll see the updated value 11, and then plus A minus minus, so A value was 6, it will see 6 and it will change to 5. So 5 minus 10, this is 26, 26 minus 5, 21, right? So I guess my answer is also 21, let's check. Should be 21. Okay, I printed B, sorry, let's print C. Yeah, so it is confirming that B final value is 11, right? Okay, so let's do once again, right? So just trying to see what this value is when you have multiple values, try to keep a track of them. Okay, because you'll in actual questions you may see 2, 3, 4, 5 different variables used, right? So keep track of what is the value, how it is changing, what is the new value of them. Okay. So first value, let's say we got 5. So 5 is there, so here we will get 5, that we know. Right now we know that we'll get 5, and A value has changed to 6. Anywhere after this, A will be referred as 6. So I have written 6 over here. Okay, so A value changed to 6. Then I saw minus minus is as it is. B minus minus. So B value is 10. I'll get 10 over here. Okay, and B value is getting decreased by 1, so it will become 9. So B value is 9 after this 9. After this point, B value is 9. Plus, okay, plus I've written as it is. B plus plus, what is B's value? B value is 9 right now. Okay, so I'll increase it by 1, it will become 10, but at this point of time I'll use 9. I'll use 9, B value has become 10. Okay, next again I did plus plus B, so B was 10, I incremented it by 1, it became 11. Since this is pre-increment, I'll give the 11 value here as well. Okay, so it will be 11 here as well. Then plus A minus minus, A value was 6, ठीक है, a value was 6. I'll decrease it by 1, it will become 5, but here I will give it as 6. Okay. Here I'll use 6 because it is post decrement. This is post decrement. So final, after calculating this result, it comes out to be 21. कैलकुलेटर की हेल्प लेनी पड़ रही है, ठीक है. जस्ट ट्राई टू राइट दिस, फॉलो दिस स्टेप बाय स्टेप. प्लीज डू नॉट हरी टू डू दिस कैलकुलेशन, ठीक है. आई आल्सो डू इट वेरी स्लोली, ट्राई टू डू इट वेरी स्लोली because it may result like if you even if you missed something by 1, it will like give a wrong result, ठीक है. चलो, let's keep it this much. We did enough questions, 3-4 questions, right? चलो हिंदी में एक्सप्लेन कर दें. ओके, जस्ट अ सेकंड. हेलो मम्मी, क्लास में बाद में बात करते हैं. ओके, सो हिंदी में लास्ट टाइम मैं एक्सप्लेन कर रहा हूँ, देन वी कैन रैप अप ऑन दिस, ठीक है. सो इनिशियली हमारे पास ए की वैल्यू थी 5, बी की वैल्यू थी 10, ठीक है. सो पोस्ट इंक्रीमेंट और प्री इंक्रीमेंट का लॉजिक और पोस्ट डिक्रीमेंट प्री डिक्रीमेंट हमने समझ लिया, राइट. सो पोस्ट इंक्रीमेंट, अभी यहाँ पे हमारे पास क्या है, पोस्ट इंक्रीमेंट. तो हम ए की वैल्यू को चेंज कर देंगे, ए की वैल्यू 6 हो जाएगी. 6 लिख दिया हमने यहाँ पे, बट अभी के लिए ए क्या है, 5 है, ठीक है. ए 5 है हमारे पास, 5 रख दिया हमने यहाँ. इंक्रीमेंट हो गया, बट यहाँ पे 5 ही आएगा. माइनस एज इट इज आ गया. फिर बी माइनस माइनस था, बी की वैल्यू क्या थी, 10. सो हमने 10 एज इट इज लिख दिया. बी माइनस माइनस है तो पोस्ट इंक्रीमेंट है, तो इस चेंज हो जाके वैल्यू बी की 9 हो जाएगी, राइट. बीज वैल्यू विल चेंज टू 9, बी 9 में चेंज हो गया. अगेन फिर हमने प्लस लिख दिया एज इट इज. फिर बी प्लस प्लस हमारे पास है. सो बी की वैल्यू क्या है, अभी 9 है. 9 को हमने इंक्रीमेंट करा बाई 1, 10 हो गया. बट यहाँ पे क्योंकि ये पोस्ट है, तो इस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पे तो 9 ही दिखेगा हमें, हमने 9 लिख दिया यहाँ पे. फिर प्लस बी प्लस प्लस, बी 10 था, 10 से इंक्रीमेंट होके 11 हो गया, ठीक है. और क्या ये पोस्ट है, प्री है, ये प्री है. सो यहाँ पे हमें क्या दिखेगा, सेम जो इंक्रीमेंट होने के बाद की वैल्यू है 11, वो दिखेगा, ठीक है. प्लस ए माइनस माइनस, ए माइनस माइनस क्या था, ए की वैल्यू 6 थी, तो 6 माइनस माइनस हमने करा, 5 हो गया. बट क्या है, ये पोस्ट डिक्रीमेंट है. सो इस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पे हमें 6 ही दिखेगा. अब फाइनली इसको कैलकुलेट करने से 21 आ रहा है, जो हमारा आंसर. चलो एक लास्ट प्रॉब्लम करते हैं एंड देन वी कैन क्लोज इट, ठीक है. आई विल अज्यूम कि एवरीवन विल अंडरस्टैंड फ्रॉम दिस लास्ट प्रॉब्लम एंड विल टेक इट फॉर दिस, ठीक है. इसमें चलो लास्ट प्रॉब्लम ऑन दिस. ओके, डू इट स्लो बट डू इट करेक्टली, ठीक है. डोंट मेक मिस्टेक्स. So let's take one more variable. Let's keep it this much. Okay, if you are able to understand for 2 variables, let me just make it more lengthy. You should be able to understand for 3 variables as well. Okay, अभी बहुत सारे different answers are. I'm seeing a lot of different answers. Please recheck everyone. Okay. Video stuck. No, I'm not speaking anything. I'm like giving you time to calculate. Right. So everyone calculate. Take a minute. then okay. So let's try to calculate this. Let's see what is the value that is coming. Okay. Just follow the steps and you will get the correct answer. Okay. So just don't skip any step. Write this down in case you want to. So first is 5, right? 5 is clear. It is post increment. So right away it will not increment. It will increment after this. So it will change its value to 6. But here the value will be 5. Okay. Then we went to B. So B was 10. This is again post decrement. So B's value will change to 9, right? But here it will be 10. Because it is post decrement. So here it will change after this line. So here we'll get the value 10. Again plus minus minus B, right? So it will decrease B value. It is 9, will decrease it to 8. Okay. So it became 8, and we'll see the 8 value over here because it is pre-decrement. Okay. Let's show again plus. Again, we have a post increment. Post increment there. So we'll again write B as 8 because 8 is the value. We'll increase it to 9. We'll increase it to 9, but here we'll get the value 8. Okay. We incremented it to 9, but here right now we'll get the value as 8. Okay. Plus what is B value right now? B value has changed to 9. So we'll get the B value as 9. Okay. Plus what is minus minus a? Minus minus a value was 6, will decrease it by 1, it will become 5, and we'll get a value as a 5. Okay. We have incremented a by plus plus 1, so a value will become 6. What is the value that I'll get right away over here? We'll get it as 5. Okay. Let's see. 10 plus 5, 15, 15 plus 8, 23, 23 plus 8, 31, 31 plus 9, 40, 10, 50. Right. So 50 is the correct answer. I guess a lot of you got the answer, right? Yeah. So see, I also did the same thing. You also try to do the same thing. If your answer was off by 1 or 2, that is only the difference that will come. Just try to do it slowly and step by step. Slowly, and just try to write it down step by step. You'll always get the correct answer. Okay. So only way to solve this is do it slowly. Okay. Don't try to hurry this question because you will for sure run into mistakes. And that answer will be off by 1 or 2. Okay. So we understood loops. Now let me just try to say the same thing over here, right? So you might see loops written something like this. So if you can in loops, it does not matter whether you are writing this updation in increment or decrement order. Why it does not matter? Because here I'm just updating, right? It will get checked over here in the condition mein check hoga. So when it will reach the condition, when I'll see I again, its value will be updated. Here right now the value will update, but here it will not reflect. Do I have any use of it here? No, right? I don't have any use of it right now. So if I write post increment or pre increment or pre decrement, it does not matter. Okay. Yeah, it does not matter whether you are writing post or pre, because the condition is somewhere else, right? So when it will reach the condition, it will the value will be updated. Value update ho jayega, right? So you can see it is working the same as first. I got 5. 5 is satisfying. 5 is greater than 5. 5 is less than 10. We printed 5. We went to here. It updated to 6, and then we went to the condition. The value was 6. Okay. So we are checking for 6. So it is working as expected. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then it is breaking the loop. Okay. Okay. So in loop, it does not matter in the updation condition whether you write updation, whether you write pre or post, because you'll always check. The condition is the place where you are checking. Okay. So it does not matter if you are writing in plus plus I or I plus plus. Okay. This is it on for loops and increment and decrement. Okay, let's move to the next part. Everyone clear on this part? Everything till now is clear before we can start the next part? Yes. Easy. Okay, so basically I just summed up. In loop it will not matter if you write pre or post increment, pre increment or post increment, it will always be the same, because I value, the condition is getting checked always with the updated value. Why? Here you are, even if you have written post, it will update it after this. In the next time when you are checking, the condition is a different place, is at a different place, so here the value will always be updated. Okay, plus I means plus I is same as I equals to I plus 1. It is incrementing I by 1 as well as updating it in I as well, right? So I plus 1 simply does not update I value, right? It's just like a mathematical operation, right? If I write a plus 2, it will not update a's value. If I have to update a's value, I'll have to write a equals to a plus 2. Okay. If you use plus I, then no difference. It will be no difference. In loop, it will not make any difference if you write I plus or plus I. It is always going to be the same. Why? Because the condition is getting checked after the updation statement. So after the updation is done running, then only the condition will get checked. Right? So it will not cause any difference in the loop. Okay. What about initialization? So initialization is just assigning the value, right? We have missed it. We have done it outside the loop, right? We can do it inside here as well. That is also. Yeah, okay, I got it. What you are saying. Okay, by meaning of empty bag. Right? So one way of writing this is, okay. Let me just show you. Let me just show you. Okay. So basically, one way to think of this is, let's say, okay, let's say we want to do this statement. Okay. Let's say I want to do this. Take one easiest trick of doing this. Take someone is pointing out till that time. So I'm writing it as comments, but there is one easy way to do this as well. Okay, what is the easy way? It was a bit difficult for me to write over here, so that's why I did not write. Let's see. What is the easy way? Whenever you have a statement like this, draw a bags, right? So this is A and this is B. Okay, we drew two bags. One is A, one is B. Okay. Okay. So in case of A, the initial value was 5. Okay. And in case of B, the initial value was 10. Okay. I'm not using a writing pad, so forgive me, the drawing is very bad. Now, whenever you do this, right, we see A plus plus, so A value you can update it to from 5 to 6. Okay. And you can write that, okay, 5 is the value and A value is updated to 6. Your value got updated from 5 to 6. Okay. Then you saw B minus minus. What you can do is, okay, B value, you can change B value from 10 to 9. Okay. And here you will see, okay, it was post, so we'll write it as 10. Next, again, plus B. So it was 9, we'll decrease it by 1, it will become 8. We will cross this out, we'll write it as 8. Okay. So you can take two empty bags for the same, like two empty containers having this value. Okay. Now B value is 8, so we wrote 8. Now plus B plus plus. Okay, so it will increase again from B to B plus plus, it will again increase it to 9. Right? And then we are writing it as 9 because, sorry. Did I do something wrong? B minus minus 8. Why is this written as 9? Okay, so this is written as 8, right? So this is written as 8. Okay. And then we went to here, so it was B, so we wrote it as 9, right? Okay. And then, yeah, so same way you can just write two empty bags instead of writing this in the way like I just write, instead of writing it as comments, write it as bags, right? Okay, so let's try to move forward. Let's try to complete loops today completely, and we'll have some time, I think. Okay. Okay. Quick yes, no, anything else, doubts? Yeah, instead of I, can I use any variable? Use any variable you want, right? Inside the loop, use A, B, C, D, it is also a variable, right? Name it whatever you want, unless it follows the variable naming convention, you can use whatever variable you want. Sure. Okay, let's move to the next part, which is very, very easy, right? Very, very easy. So we understood loop and we understood for loop, right? This was a good thing for us. We understood loops and we understood the syntax as well. We did not understand just the loop. What is syntax? Syntax is basically how we write the program. जैसे हम program लिखते हैं उसको syntax बोलते हैं, right? So This is how we wrote a for loop. This is the syntax of writing for loop, that it has 4 parts: initialization, condition, updation, body. Right. So this is one way of writing the loop, right, which is known as for loop, writing as for loop. We have another way to write the same thing, do the exact same thing, which is known as while loop. So in while loop, we simply have a condition and a body. That. Now, where does the initialization and updation go? So since these were not compulsory, we were doing initialization outside the loop, so we can do it outside here as well. So if we want to do the initialization, we can do it outside the loop. If we want to do the updation, where did the updation go, we can do it inside the body of the loop, right? Since all of these were not compulsory, only thing that mattered to us was this condition, because if the condition is something which we have to check and again before running the loop, so we're just checking the condition. So here in the while loop, it told that, okay, since this all things are not compulsory, let me remove this, and if you want to do initialization, do it outside the loop. If you want to do updation, do it inside the body. The only thing that I care about is the condition. I'll only check for the condition. Initialization will be before the while loop, and updation will, if you want to do, we will do it inside the body. For each loop, don't take it don't look into for each loop, right? For now, just use for and while. While is looking easy, right? While is very easy. While looks very easy as compared to for. We understood for, so while looks very easy, right? Let me just comment this out and let's try to write a while loop using which we can display numbers, right? So let's say I want to do so all the even numbers from 1 to 10. Okay, so I can simply write while I is what is going to be the condition, I is less than equals to 10. Okay, I can simply print system dot out dot println. I can print I. Okay, and here the updation will be there, I equals to I plus 2. Done. Let's say run this. So it will print the same thing. I did the initialization outside the loop. A condition inside this while I have a body where I did the updation. Right. So we also saw how we can do the updation in the body of the for loop, right? So same way we can do the updation in the body of the while. Updation in the body of the while. Only thing that the while loop cares about is the condition. While loop किसी चीज को care करता है, that is the condition. Okay. When we use for, when we use while, there is no hard and fast rule that here you have to use for, here you have to use while. There is no rule. Whatever you want, whatever you feel like using, whatever you are comfortable with, you can use any one of that. Okay. So there is no rule that here you have to use this, here you have to use that. Whatever you feel like comfortable, use that. If you feel more comfortable in for, use the for loop. If you feel more comfortable in while loop, use the while. Okay, if we remove the initialization and the updation, let's say we remove the initialization and we remove the updation. So, okay, we have to write a condition. So we will need to write something over here. So if we do not write the condition, so it is a infinite loop. Right? Sorry, it is printing right. Let's do hello world. Okay. So it is an infinite loop. If you remove this condition, it is an infinite loop. Okay, it is expecting an expression. It is not showing. If you want to, let's write it. Let's write it as 2. What is happening? If you write it as 2, which is this condition is 2, it is going to go for infinite thing, right? Okay. Okay, this language, this while loop is throwing me error. It is telling me that if I don't pass anything, it is telling me that you know what, this is not a for loop. You have to pass something. You have to tell me something that I need in condition. Okay, so while loop the condition is compulsory. Okay, so this is something which you have to know. In while condition is compulsory. So if you want a infinite loop, you can write just a condition that is always true. You can write it something like 5 double equals to 5, right? So this is always true. So this is an always true condition because this will never be false and you will run into an infinite loop. Does change in value variable inside the loop remains same outside the loop? Yes, if you change the value of a variable inside the loop, it will be reflected in the variable, right? So for example, if I have I equals to 0, let's say I have a condition I is less than equals to 10. Okay, I am printing I. So we have seen this yesterday. Let me just show you same thing for while loop. If I do I plus is equals to 2, let's say. Okay, just the same scenario. I am just printing all the right, or numbers. So, sorry, even numbers. If I display it outside the loop, all the changes that I made in this variable inside the loop will also be reflected outside the loop. So you can see what is happening. So firstly, I went to this. The condition is true. I printed. It is printing 0. Right? It is printing 0. I went here. It updated it by 2. So it became 2. Checked condition true. Printing 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That 10 is equals to less than equals to 10. Condition is true. It printed 10 and then it updated its value to 12, right? It updated its value to 12. Now the condition is becoming false. Now it is breaking the loop, and outside this loop, the value is still 12. So that the time when this condition will be false, that will be the final value that this loop will have. Okay. Clear? Rohit, I'm not getting your question. Contrast problem, which is what is contrast problem? Contrast problem. What if we add more syntax out of the body? Context problem on module. Okay, so your modules you can discuss with the TA. Okay, that's why that 1 hour session is there. You can discuss that with TA. If you have any specific question, you can paste it over here. We can discuss that. Okay, if you get time at the end of the session. How to break out of a loop? Yeah, so that I'll come. Break and continue. I'll come to that. Okay. So there is one more loop. Let me quickly cover that up. While loop is clear to everyone. Is it difficult? Same, right? Nothing different. Easy, right? Yeah. So the last loop is do while loop. Let me cover that quickly as well. How to add a character to the number repeated in loop. Okay, difference between writing print inside and writing print outside. Okay, okay, this is a good question. So when you write print statement inside this loop, right? So that will run again and again, right? This is running every time the loop is running. So this is printing out this thing this many times, 6 times, right? The outside, when I write something outside the loop, that runs only once. वो एक ही बार run करता, right? So why it is printed 12, right? I is less than white is I is less 12 is less than 10, and then white is printing 12. So firstly here what is happening is keep for 10 10 is less than equals to 10, condition is satisfying. It is going and printing 10. It printed 10, but it also updated. Updation was in body, right? There also the updation used to work in the for loop. It went to go to the updation, then it goes to the condition. So it went to the updation, it updated it to 12, and then when it went to condition, now the condition is false. But the I value, final value of I will be 12, right? Final value when this loop will terminate, so I value will be 12. So that's why when I'm printing it outside the loop, it is coming out to be 12. Let me just print one space in between so that you can see right away that okay, this is coming out from the outside the loop, right? This 12 is coming out from this statement outside the loop, right? So this is part which is printed inside the loop by this println which is running again and again, and this is printed outside the loop. But if we add this outside the body 3 times, now it does not matter if you add it 3 times, 5 times, 10 times, it will always print the same value because here I'm not updating, right? I'm not updating. It is always getting 12. Until unless you change it to some other value, if you update it outside the loop, it will update. If you do not update, it will always be 12, whatever value we ended the loop with. How to add a character at the end of the loop? Oh, so this is easy, right? Just print a after it. Just print a. After this, just do plus and a. Okay, done. So this will print whatever you want. So you run a loop from 0 to 4 and you print add a at the end of it. So this will print ia 1 and 2a, 3a, 4a, right? So here I'm running in the loop in the iterations of 2. Right? So want a space in between them, just put a space. It will give a space in between them as well. Okay. Okay. Let's we comment out this. Let's move to the last set of loops question. Okay, then we'll do some practice loop concept. There are a lot of things to tell in loops. Okay. So if you add I plus plus outside this body, what will happen? So the inside the loop, it will not get incremented. Like when the loop is running, that will never change. I value will not change. So if you update it outside the loop, the condition will always be true. It will become an infinite loop. For example, in this scenario, if I update it outside the loop, if I write this statement outside the loop, what will happen? When the loop is running, I value is never changing. It has become an infinite loop. If you are changing it outside the loop, it does not matter anymore. This has become an infinite loop. It will keep on printing this. I value is not changing. This will never get hit. This line of code will never run because this loop will keep on running forever, right? This will never stop. Okay, let's move to the last loop. Do it quickly, and then we can come back to the questions on this. Okay. Okay. So the last kind of loop is, excuse me. Okay, can we write updation before the print statement? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So if we write this before the print statement, so that will update its value before displaying. So you'll always see the updated value. So firstly, you will see 2. So 0 was here when we entered the loop, it was 0, but we updated it to 2. So we'll see 2. Just remember one concept. Try to execute your code line by line. Whatever output you'll get after running it line by line, that is your final output that you'll see in console. Okay. So just try to practice it by running it line by line and try to see the output. That what the output will be, how I value is changing. If this line of code will run, I value will change to this. So if I print it after this, so I will see the updated value in console. Okay, so it is following line by line pattern. It वैसा नहीं होता है कि it is running line number 105 and then it is going to 104. ऐसा नहीं होगा. It will always run 104, then 105, then 106, and in the same order always. Okay. So let's move to do while, and then I can pick up a few questions from chat. Okay. So we understood for, we understood while. So there are two kind of loop. There is one more kind of loop. This is one of the least used, but yeah, this exists. So we should know. So do while. Okay. So here again we have the same thing. Firstly, we have do. We have a body of loop, and at the end we have a condition. Okay. Here we put a semicolon. Okay. Okay. So this is the only place where you will see a semicolon after this round bracket. Okay. Nowhere you will see a semicolon after the round bracket. We never saw. In while loop, we did not see after round bracket it was followed by curly brackets. Here also we did not see. In for loop also we did not see. In if also we did not see. Right? In case of if else also we did not see. But this is the only place where you will see a semicolon after this while condition. Okay. Same, simple. If you want to do initialization, if you want to initialize something, we'll initialize it outside this loop. If we want to do something, if you want to do the updation, we'll do it over here. Okay, simple. Initialization outside the loop, updation in the body of the loop, and only thing is condition. Okay. So let's say I want to display the numbers. Let's say I want to display all the numbers, even numbers from 0 to, let's say, system println I. Okay. And let's do I plus equals I equals to I plus 2. Okay. And in here I can do while I is less than equal to 10. Same. Okay. So it will print it. So I is 0, it will print. I will update it to 2. It will go to condition. It will check. Okay. So this okay. This is the only place where the initial flow. This is how the loop syntax is, right? And it is also does the same work. Does anything piece of work again and again. But why we have a while do while loop, we had for loop and we had while loop. right? We had for loop and we had a while loop which is doing a piece of work where we have only condition and body, right? It was minimal work. This is also almost same, but why do we have do while? Why? What is the need of it? So do while loop does not run in the order that I told you earlier, right? I told you order that a loops runs in this particular order. Where did that go? I mentioned it somewhere. Yeah. So I told you that this is the order in which your loop runs, right? But this does not run in that particular order, right? It runs in initialization, condition, body. It does not run in this particular. It runs initialization, body, condition. Okay, initialization, body, condition. Sorry, it does not have an initialization. Whatever it has, right? If we are initializing, it will do that. Otherwise, no. So it will run body, then it will go to condition. It will again run body, then it will go to condition. Now notice one thing. It will run body and then again it will go to condition. This will keep on happening. Now notice one thing. I started this with body, right? I started this with body. It is not starting with condition. In case of for, it was starting with condition. In case of while also, it was starting with condition. In case of for, when we were writing for loop, we did initialization. We directly used to go to condition. Condition पहले check करते थे, फिर body पे जाते थे, right? In case of while loop, we were checking the condition first, then we were going to body. Here we are firstly checking the here we are firstly running body and then we are going to condition. What is the issue due to this? Let's say I have written a condition like 0 is less than 0. Okay, 0 is not equal to 0. This is false, right? I have given I value as 0 and the condition is false. I have written a false condition. But if I run this, what you'll observe that we'll get one output. Yeah, right now something bad happened. Okay, sorry. Yeah, it is updating inside this ticket. Let's not update this. Let's run this. Okay, so what I have done over here is I have I. I have a I value. I am going to the loop. I am running the body and then I have written a condition 0 not equal to 0. Even though the condition is false for the very first time, condition पहले से ही false है. Condition तो जब मैंने लिखा वो false ही था, but फिर भी loop का body एक बार run कर गया and I am seeing the value 0, which will not happen if I write the same thing in for or while loop. अगर मैं while loop में लिखूं इसको, अगर मैं while loop में इसको लिख दूं, if I write the same thing in while loop or for loop, ऐसा नहीं होगा. I will not see any output, right? For example, let's write the same thing, right? I'm not doing any updation. ठीक है? So I don't need any initialization. I have done. I will simply write I not equals to 0. ठीक है? I don't want to do any updation as well. ठीक है? Same thing. No updation, only condition and body, right? I have only condition and body. If I print this, so in do while loop, I am getting 0 as output. If I write this in for loop, same thing. If I write in for loop, I'll not see any output. कोई output नहीं आएगा. क्यों? क्योंकि condition false था. Loop का body run ही नहीं करेगा. Same thing if I write it inside a for loop. अगर मैं same चीज को while loop में लिख दूं, if I is not equals to 0 and I just want to print this. Let's run this. In case of while loop as well, I'll not see any output, right? कोई output नहीं आएगा. Why? Because it is firstly checking the condition, right? For loop and while loop first checks the condition and then goes to the body. In do while loop, firstly I'm checking the body, firstly I'm running the body, and then I'm going to the condition. So that's why even though the condition is false, the loop will run for once, at least once. Okay. And this kind of loop is known as exit controlled loop. The condition is at the exit of the loop. Okay, so you may get this as a question, that what are entry controlled and loop and what are exit controlled loop. So entry controlled loops are for and while. Okay. Exit control loops are do while, because in case of for and while the condition are getting checked first and then we go to body. Here always the execution thing looks like condition and then body. Here we have the body first and then we go to condition. So even though a condition is false for the very first time, we end up running the loop for once. Okay, एक बार ही रन होगा, ऐसा नहीं है कि बार बार रन हो जाएगा, बट हाँ एक बार रन हो जाएगा even though the condition is false. Okay, clear on do while everyone? It can be understandable, but how to remember all this? So you will gradually remember everything, right? It is not difficult. It is very small concepts. As we keep on practicing, as we'll do it for 2-3 months continuously, we'll automatically remember. There is nothing like to mug up, right? You'll automatically remember these things. That yeah. हिंदी में बता दो एक बार, ठीक है? So exit control or entry control. One second, ठीक है? So let me just sum it up in English and then. So entry control loops, in case of entry control loop, we first check the condition. If the condition is false, we never enter the body. We never ever enter the body in a situation when the condition is false. Okay, so here we saw if the condition was false, we'll not enter this loop. Why? Because we do initialization, nothing is there. We check the condition and then we go to body. Right? So we do not enter the body. Here we are firstly checking the condition, then only we are entering the body. But in case of do while, we are firstly running the body and then we are going to the condition. So that's why even though the condition is false here, as the condition is even false, we are still seeing one output, because even though condition is false, it will end up running this loop body for once. Loop body एक बार तो run हो ही जाए, ठीक है? Okay. In Hindi, and that's why this thing is known as entry control loop, which is for and while, where the condition is getting checked first before entering the body, and do while is known as an entry control exit control loop, because the body is getting executed first and then we are checking the condition. Okay. Is do while important development? I like rarely use a do while loop. Do while loop is the least used. You'll like very rarely feel the necessity for using a do while loop. We generally avoid writing do while loops. Again, to be honest. But since it exists, you should know, because you may see an output question based on this or something. So yeah, so that's why. So if we see output questions in your coding rounds or in your interviews, you get this question. So that's why you have to learn on this concept. All three loops have the same work, to run any piece of code again and again. Right? The purpose of all of them are same, to run the piece of code again and again. Only thing is different ways. So for and while are all like completely same. Only thing is we are writing it differently. Right? Do while, there is only one extra thing, that it even runs even if the condition is false for the very first time. Okay. In Hindi, so basically do while loop एक exit control loop है. Exit control loop का मतलब क्या होता है? इसमें condition body run करने के बाद चेक होता है. So अगर मान लो हमने कोई ऐसा condition लिख दिया जो पहले ही false है, जैसे यहाँ पे हमने लिख दिया 0 i की वैल्यू और 0 is not equal to 0, कंडीशन false है. अगर सेम चीज मैं for loop में लिखूंगा तो कभी बॉडी रन नहीं होगी, while loop में लिखूंगा तो कभी बॉडी रन नहीं होगी, क्योंकि कंडीशन ही false है, बॉडी तो कभी जाएगा ही नहीं. बट यहाँ पे क्योंकि बॉडी पहले रन हो जा रही है, पहले बॉडी रन करेगा, सो ये पार्ट ये प्रिंट हो जाएगा और उसके बाद कंडीशन चेक करेगा कि ये ट्रू है या फॉल्स है. राइट? तो एक बार हमेशा आउटपुट आ जाएगा अगर इवन दो जो उसका बॉडी होगा, सॉरी कंडीशन होगा वो फॉल्स होगा, बॉडी एक बार तो रन करी जाएगी. एंड इसलिए इसको एंट्री कंट्रोल लूप बोलते हैं, फॉर एंड व्हाइल. वहां पे एंट्री के टाइम कंडीशन चेक कर लेते हैं कि ट्रू है या फॉल्स है, तभी बॉडी रन करेगी. और डू व्हाइल को एग्जिट कंट्रोल लूप बोलते हैं, क्योंकि उसमें बॉडी रन करने के बाद कंडीशन चेक कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, चलो, क्लियर टू एवरीवन? क्विक यस नो? हाँ ठीक है, दिस इज अ गुड क्वेश्चन. चलो, ये किसी ने पूछा है. I like this question. Someone tried this out right now and brought this up. So someone is asking if I write something like this. मैंने ऐसा कुछ लिखा है. Right? Let's say I'm doing the updation before this. ठीक है. इसको update करा है. Let's say let me remove this. ठीक है. Let me remove this. So the output is coming out to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Why there is a 12 even though the condition is less than 10? So the condition is only the way to enter the loop. Loop के body के अंदर क्या हो रहा है? Whatever is happening inside the body of the loop has nothing to do with it. ठीक है, लूप उसको कुछ नहीं करना है। When the body will complete, जब body complete हो जाएगा, then only it will get back to the condition again. Okay, so here, excuse me, what is happening is कि firstly I'm checking I equals to 0, okay, which is fine. ठीक है, now when I am having I 0 less than 10, the condition is satisfying. I am entering inside the body, I update it to 2. What is the value that I display? I am displaying I. So what is the value of I now? It is 2. I entered by checking I is less than 0 is less than 10, but I displayed 2. Same way I'll update it. I'll check 2 is less than 10. Okay. I'll enter and I'll update 4. So I'm displaying 4. Then I'll again go, I'll check 6. Oh, sorry, 4 is less than 10. I'll update it to 6 and I'll print 6. Same way I'll go when I'll enter with 10 is less than 10. Okay. That is satisfying. I'll enter, I'll update it to 12. I'll print 12. And in the next time I'll break the loop, right? So that's why you are seeing 12, and that's why this is printing 12 here, right? You are seeing 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, because you are updating I before printing. So this is printing the updated value. So I'm updating it 12 while printing it. And then when I'm again going back to the condition with 12, so that time it is breaking. When I entered the loop, the value of I was 10. So the condition was true that time when I entered. After ending the loop, I updated I value, it made the condition false. So it will not break the loop in between, right? Which one is faster, for or while loop? Both are so there is no faster, there is no winner, right? Both are run with the same speed. There is nothing to do with like how they're implemented. They both run the same way. So the answer should be there is no difference whether they write something in for loop or while loop. That is just different ways of writing. The speed is same. Achha, let's do a few simple questions on loop. Okay, and which will make your understanding on loop more clear. Okay. One thing I'll advise you is try to always use entry control loop. Okay, always write entry control loop like for or while loop. Avoid using do while loop, because that may that is even your loop will run at least for once, even if your condition is false that you don't want. So avoid using do while. Just remember it because you may get it as an input output question or a question in interview. Okay, that's why you have to remember it. Okay, but try to use the entry control loop as long as you can. Okay. Okay, let's do a few questions. Let's try to find the sum of all numbers. Well, all even numbers from 1 to, let's say, 1000. Okay. So how can we do this? So let's say we want to run the loop from 1 to 1000, right? So this is something which we get directly from the question. So let's say we want to run the loop from 1 to 1000. So 1 and it is 1000. Okay. And I plus plus total. Okay. Now what I have to do is I have to find the sum of all even numbers. Sum find करना है. So basically we have to store it somewhere. किसी ना किसी place में तो store करेंगे. So we have to store it somewhere. So in order to store this sum, we will need one more variable. We can use sum. We can give it a value 0. Next, what we can do is we can increment this. We can add whatever I we have with this sum. Only thing is we have to put a condition that this I has to be even. If the I value is even, we will so how will it check even or not? If I percentage 2 double equals to 0. Let's say if I is even, I'll add it to the sum. Otherwise, I will not. Otherwise, I will not do anything. Okay. So I ran a loop. I try to check, okay, if I value is even, then I'm adding it to the sum. Otherwise, I'm not doing anything. Okay. Outside this loop, I can print system.out.println. I can print it the sum. Okay. So I'm getting a very high value sum. There is no way for me to verify whether it is correct or not. Yeah, can we do it I equals to 0, I plus equals to 2? Yes, you can. We don't need to write the if condition then. Right, it will work the same way. right? Okay. There can be multiple ways of writing the same thing, and you can write it whichever way you want. Okay. Okay. Here, so let's do something which may sound like more interesting. Odd numbers कैसे करना है? Check कर लो. I percentage 2 not equals to 0. Odd के लिए remainder will not be equals to 0. Even के लिए the remainder will be equal to 0. Right? So just you have to change the condition. Or when you divide something by 2, if the remainder is not equal to 0, it is definitely odd. In this, can we write the print statement inside the loop? What will happen if you write the print statement inside the loop? If you write the print statement inside the loop, it will every time find out the sum and then it will display it there as well, right? It will display it. Okay, let me just show you. So if I write this print statement inside the loop, what will happen? I just want the sum, right? I just want the sum once. So it is showing me once. If I write it inside the loop will run 1000 times and it will print this sum 1000 times, which I do not want, right? मुझे 1000 times sums तो चाहिए नहीं. So it is printing from the starting, right? It started with 0 to then to 6, right? You can see it is printing the sum. So firstly it was 2, 0, then it was for I equals to 1 it was 0, for I equals to 2 it became 2, for I equals to 3 it was still 2, for I equals to 4 it came to 6, for I equals to 5 it was still 6, and then it is showing me how it updated. It loop ran 1000 times and it got updated to this. So I do not want to write this because it will run this again and again. Simply write it outside. Okay. So this was easy, right? Easy. Let's do something more interesting. Okay. Let's say we want to print all the factors of a number, right? I gave you this question yesterday. How many of you tried this question? Try to print all the factors. Why is if in for, right? Because we wanted to check whether this I is even or odd. If this I is even, then only we wanted to add it to the sum. If it is not even, then we do not want to add it to sum, right? If it was odd, then we did not want to add it to sum, right? So this will run only if the if is true. Okay, let me write this inside curly bracket. So if there is one statement after it, you can skip this curly bracket. Okay, for now we'll keep practice, write it inside this curly bracket. Okay, even if there is one statement. Okay, how many of you tried to find out factors of a given number? One. I see only one person who tried. What about rest of you? No one tried. Done. So, okay. Okay. So let me do this question quickly, and then we can. Yeah. Okay. So let's try to firstly print all the factors of a number. Let's say I want to take a number. Let's say I is equals to, sorry, a is equals to, let's take it as 67. 68, so even later. We'll see some factors at least. Int I is equals to 0 as, yeah. Okay, don't take it from 0. So what are the factors? From where does the factor of a number start? It starts from 1. What is the smallest factor of a number? 1. So the factors of a number start with 1. So that's why I started with 1. Can anyone point out till when I want to go this? Kab tak chalna hai, till when I want to do this? 68, right? Why? Because the largest factor of a number is the number itself. So I can run it till a, right? And I can increment it by 1. Okay. Largest factor of the number is the number itself, right? So always run it for the number, till the number, because number is itself a factor. Right. So if now what I have to check, can anyone write the condition? Okay, someone wrote it. I don't want to count it. I just want to check whether it is divisible or not. So if a percentage I double equals to 0, in order for something to be a factor of something, in order for I to be a factor of a, I को a के factor होने के लिए, when I divide a by I, that should be 0. Remainder should be 0. Right? When we were checking for even or odd, this is how we were checking, right? If I was divisible by 2 and the remainder was coming to out to be 0, if the remainder of division is 0, then means I is divisible by 2, so it is even. If I divide a by I and the remainder comes out to be 0, then means I is a factor of a. So we can print this. We can print this factor which is I. Okay, done. So I'm checking if I is dividing A. If I divides A, so I'm printing I, okay, which is a factor. So 1 is a factor, 2 is a factor, 4 is a factor, 17 is a factor, 34 is a factor, 68 is itself a factor. Okay, simple. So all those numbers between 1 and the number, whichever divides this number, for which all numbers I get the remainder as 0, it comes out to be the factor of that number. Okay, ये उसका factor है. Simple, easy. Everyone understood? Clear? Yes, no? It's printing till 68, right? Because there is not going to be any factor of 68 after 68. 68 के बाद 68 का कोई factor हो सकता है क्या? नहीं होगा. क्यों नहीं होगा? क्योंकि 68 तो उसका last factor है. उससे बड़ा number से बड़ा factor कैसे हो सकता है? Right? It is not possible. Okay. Let's say I want to count this. Achha, for everyone, I'm seeing few yeses, 4-5 people. Rest all what happened? Doubts? Putting in place of for loop, sir. Right. Can we directly in case of a for loop? What do you mean? Like how will we write it? Yeah, is percentage used to get remainder? Yes, percentage is used to get the remainder of a number. Right after the, it's like after the division, what is the remainder? Percentage gives that. Can we do it in while loop or something? Yes, we can do it. You can write the same thing. Initialization I outside the loop, condition is going to be the same. Updation will move to the body, and this will be inside the body. Just restructure it, you'll get the same thing. Can we check A by 2 instead of A? No, we should check it up till A, right? Because A is a factor of itself. Can we write 68 instead of A? Let's say you want to take it as user input. अगर ये user input होगा तो क्या करेंगे? तो यहाँ पे तो मैंने ऐसे ही लिख दिया, but मान लो ये user input होगा तो scanner SC ऐसा होगा तो I'm writing a generic thing, right? Let's do it system.in. So this is how we used to take input, and next we can write sc.next int. Okay. So I'm not, let's see, it is saying me you never told me that you want to use scanner and you're using it. Tell me before using something. It is showing me the error. Let me just tell him that we want to use scanner. Import java.util.scanner. Let's run this. Now it is waiting for me to give the number. Let's say I give it the number 74. So it will give me the factors of 74. Or can we write one or more conditions inside? Just write use and or, right? Or use and or if you want to write multiple conditions, right? So you have to, the place is here that you can write the conditions over here. If you want to write multiple condition, you can use the logical operators and or to write it, to write as many conditions as you like. Okay, in place of A inside the loop, when we write it, you can do it, right? You can do it. You can do it A by 2 and you can print it outside the loop, right? The output should be same. Your method of achieving the output, you can change it however you want, right? You can do it up till A by 2 over here. That will run it, and then outside the body you can write 68. Right? You can directly print A. Okay, that will also solve the issue. Now this, using this thing, this technique, we can solve a lot of problems. So this is how we printed all the factors. Right? Can we count all the factors? Yes, we can. Let's take one variable. Let's call it as count, and we'll give it a value 0. If we want to count something, we'll give it initial value 0. We're just starting with 0. Inside this loop, I'll just increment it by 1. Okay. It will count it. It will count all the factors, and then I want to print it. I'll print it outside the loop. So simply having a count, I have a count. I'm incrementing it inside this loop, inside this if condition, and then I'm printing it outside the loop. Okay, simple. So it will print the count of all the factors this number has. Let's say I will give it 84. So 84 has 12 factors, right? Okay, once again. So basically, let's say I want to count the factors. Earlier I just printed the factors. Now let's say the question is count all the factors of a given number. Right? So the logic is same. We are trying to run a loop from I to A, and we are trying to check if this is a factor. Only thing is I'm updating it in a count variable. So count variable started with 0, and then I'm updating it by 1 every time I'm seeing a factor. Every time this condition satisfies, I go to the if body, I update the count value by 1, so that I know that there is a factor that I found out for this particular number. So I update it by 1, and I'm printing it outside the loop. So it is printing that this number has this many factors. By count plus plus, we can write it as count plus 1 as well. Right? Same thing. So basically, whenever I find a factor, I found one factor, right? So that's why I'm increasing it by 1. If you want to see the factors and print it, so just print it, print the factors over here. If you want to print the factors, we can print I. So let's say, let's run this. Let's give it the same input, 84. So see, we are seeing factors 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 12, 14, 21, 28, 42, 84. These are the factors, and the total count is 12. Okay. Here, count of factors. So basically, count of factor में हमने क्या करा? Factor निकाला, सॉरी फैक्टर्स फाइंड आउट करा और एक वेरिएबल रख लिया काउंट, जहां पे हम इंक्रीज करते जा रहे हैं उसको बाय 1. जब भी एक फैक्टर मिलता है उसको बाय 1 इंक्रीज कर देते हैं, हमें काउंट मिल जाता है कि हाँ हमारा काउंट इतना हो गया, हमने इतना. हाउ काउंट इज वर्किंग? काउंट एक बस एक नॉर्मल वेरिएबल है, राइट? उस एक हमने 0 से स्टार्ट किया और उसको हर बार बाय 1 इंक्रीज करते रहे, राइट? चलो इसमें एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन करते हैं, 10 मिनट्स हैं, ठीक है? एक काउंट वेरिएबल है, काउंट में हमने बस ये रख लिया और उसमें इंक्रीज कर दिया. अब एक सिंपल लॉजिक बताओ एवरीवन, दिस क्वेश्चन इज फॉर एवरीवन. हाउ विल यू चेक वेदर अ नंबर इज प्राइम और नॉट? Just write in one statement. What will you? How will you check whether a given number is prime or not? Prime का क्या होता है? Prime number has the feature that it is divisible by itself and 1. Right? Someone wrote the correct answer. So in order for the number to be prime, the number has to only be divisible by 1 in itself. Now what will be the count in this scenario? If it is a prime number के लिए count क्या आता है? Let's run this. Let's put a value. So for prime number, the count will be exactly 2. Right? For a prime number, let's say 17, we'll get 2 factors, 1 and 17, and the count is exactly 2. Right? So exactly 2. So if the count is exactly equal to 2, right, then it is a prime number. So if outside the loop we can check if the count that we are getting is exactly equal to 2, then we can tell this number, you know what, this is a prime number. Otherwise, we can say that if the count is not 2, if the count is anything else, then we can simply say that, you know what, this is not a prime number. And this. Right. So let me give you input. So it is printing it is a prime number. Right. What is the characteristic of a prime number? Prime number का मतलब क्या होता है? Basically उसके 2 factors होने चाहिए, 1 और itself, और कोई factor नहीं होता. Right. So अगर if the number has only 2 factors, 1 in itself, so that means the count will come out to be 2. Right. After the end of the loop. Right. If the count will come out to be 2 at the end of the loop. Right now, if you check if the count is true, we can say that it is prime number. Otherwise, it is not a prime. Right? Can we write it in different ways? Yes, you can. You can run the loop from 2 to less than a. We can run the loop from 2 to less than a, and you can check whether you are getting a factor or not. Right? If the number does not have any factor, then you have to check if the count is 0. Right? ऐसे लिखना है अगर if we want to run the loop from 2 to a, you can check you will get 0 factors. If you get 0 factors, then it is a prime number. And depending on the while loop, your condition will vary. Right? If you are starting from 1 to a, you have to check for 2. If you are starting from 2 to less than a, you have to check for 0. Right? Accordingly, you can vary. Right? You can develop your own logic however you want. After else, can we give brackets? So if in case of if and else, if you have only one line of code after it, so you don't need brackets, but always practice giving these brackets. Okay, so I missed it. In case if you have only one line of code, you can skip the brackets. If you have multiple lines inside the if that you want to run, like in here I want to run 2 lines, so I'll have to give the brackets. Right? If I do not give the brackets in that 2 lines, so that will give out some different result. Okay. Okay. How to print prime numbers from 1 to 100. Okay, chalo, we'll do this tomorrow. Fibonacci series will do this tomorrow. Chalo, Fibonacci will do prime numbers from 1 to 100 will do. Now try to experiment. Now take this everyone as a question. Okay. Everyone understood prime? Code runs line wise, right? Yes, code runs always line wise, right? So always, if you have any doubts on how your code is running, just run it line wise, line by line. Or the I values and count are printed separately instead of alternatively. So it is printed separately, right? So firstly, it is printing I here 1, then it printed it again ran this loop. It printed and it next time it found the factor 70. The next factor it found was 17. So it printed it. Then the loop ended. Right? Loop ended. It went outside the loop. It checked what is the count. So the count is 2. So it is printing. It is prime. So it is printing this line. It is print. And then it came to here, and then it is printing 2 at the end of the at the last. So it is still running line by line. It will never break that thing that it is not running line by line. Right? What is prime number? Prime number is basically any number that has 2 factors, one in itself. It has to have only 2 factors, one in itself. Now we understood we can count the factors of a number. We counted the factors of a number. Right? We counted all the factors of a number. Now, if the factor count is 2, if the factor count comes out to be true, then it is prime. Right? Otherwise, it is not prime. Only you have to be sincere that we are running the loop from 1 to is 1 से A तक loop run कर. If you are running the loop from something different to different, it will depend. Your condition will depend on this. Count is variable. Yes, count is a variable. हिंदी में चलो let's understand this in हिंदी once. ठीक है. So basically हमने एक वेरिएबल बनाया count. उसमें काउंट कर रहे हैं कि हमारे पास कितने फैक्टर आ रहे हैं. ठीक है. अब हम इस लूप में काउंट कर रहे थे कि कितने फैक्टर आ रहे हैं. हम चेक कर रहे हैं कि क्या ये फैक्टर है और हम काउंट में इंक्रीज कर रहे हैं. काउंट को बाय 1 इंक्रीज करें. जब भी हमें एक फैक्टर मिल रहा है हम काउंट को बाय 1 इंक्रीज कर दे रहे हैं. ठीक है. काउंट बाय 1 इंक्रीज होता जा रहा है. काउंट में हमारे पास हमेशा काउंट रह रहा है कि कितने फैक्टर्स हैं हमारे पास. अगर लूप खत्म होता है और हमें पता चलता है कि फैक्टर काउंट 2 है, फैक्टर काउंट 2 है और हमने लूप रन करा था 1 से a तक, मतलब 1 और a ही 2 फैक्टर. 1 और a तो हमेशा फैक्टर होंगे ही होंगे. किसी भी नंबर का 1 और a वो खुद फैक्टर है ही. तो 2 फैक्टर आ रहे हैं मतलब ये प्राइम नंबर है और कोई फैक्टर मिला ही नहीं इसको. ठीक है. और अगर 2 से ज्यादा फैक्टर आ रहे हैं इसका मतलब इट इज नॉट प्राइम. Clear to everyone? Prime, not prime. Okay, now everyone take this as a question. Okay, try to find out all the prime numbers from 1 to 100. Okay. So I'll give this notes to you in the note resources. You'll receive this by today or tomorrow morning. Recordings you'll receive. Yeah. Functions and arrays. Tomorrow we'll start with function and arrays. So I have 2 more classes. We have classes scheduled till 19. So we have 2 more classes. We'll do one class. We'll do arrays and functions, and then we may practice. Last class will sum up revision, practice all the concepts and all those things. You'll not get oops in the first time. All those things you'll not get. Okay, there is one thing that is remaining. That is the math function. So math function I have to cover. Okay, so that is one thing that I'll cover. Yeah, apart from this I don't think you'll need anything else. Rest is try to practice somewhat. In a line, what is array rotation? Okay, so we rotate the array like we are basically, so we have an array and we are rotating it based on let's say whatever is let's say I'm shifting every value by 3 and whatever gets outside the array I bring them at the start of the array. So that is array rotation. Okay. Okay. Array and function when will start tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll start with array and functions, and then I'll move to questions. Right. So questions is something that you have to practice. I have to give you all the concepts. Right. So in the next 2 classes, I'll try to cover up these 3 remaining concepts: array, functions, and maths. Right. If you have questions, practice read all these questions and try to ask your TA about any doubts on questions. A specific question पे doubt आ रहा है तो वहाँ पे DSA like what is DSA specific? In main batch, group project is allowed. Yes, I specifically encourage for group projects because you will, if you are working in a group, you will for sure complete the project because you always will have push of other people to do it, and you will also learn about teamwork, right? And you learn from other people as well, but they give you is input and you will share things. So I encourage students to do group projects, especially. So yeah, you try to do some personal projects, but yeah, doing 1 or 2 group projects will also help you. Yeah, for factorial, ठीक है, I will cover tomorrow. Factorial मैं बता दूंगा. In simple and Roshan, why factorial is failing? You might be failing because you might be giving a large number as input, right? So that large number could not be stored in integer. So that's why you would be seeing some different kind of result. Okay. So you can only find factorial of very small numbers, and by small I mean very small, like 10, 15, 16 or something. I guess till that much you can go for factorial. After that, it starts to break. Okay. Use a long integer or a double, right? That may store somewhat larger, but yeah, still you won't be able to find out factorials of number like 100, 200 or 50 something, because it will not give you. Okay. 5 is input, so that should show 5 में तो कोई issue नहीं आना चाहिए. Let's see that next int 5 fact 1 5 is greater than equals to 1 I minus 5. No, it is correct. I don't see any problem. I've written the loop in reverse. You can write it in from I to n, but yeah, that is not the issue. Okay, check it once again. If it does not solve the issue, we'll discuss it tomorrow. Okay, so. Okay, if you have any problem on particular problem that this particular test case is failing or something, you can ask the TA if that is in the Acciojob portal to solve that problem. Okay, and he will show you by solving that problem. Okay, in that 8 to 9 session. If there is any test case which is failing, he should be able to tell you why. Okay. Thank you everyone. Good night. See you again tomorrow. Yes, we can leave.